Thank you. But think what our country would have been like if the election had not been rigged and so on. Just think of this. Israel would not now be under attack, would never be under attack. They'd be flourishing, they'd be happy. All of those people that are dead, right now dead, beautiful daughters and sons, fathers and mothers, babies, 44 babies had their heads cut off. Did you hear that, right? Babies, these are babies. They had their heads cut off today. But Israel would be flourishing. They would have no problem. Iran would never have played that game. Ukraine would not be under attack by Russia. Zero chance. Zero chance. Putin wouldn't have done it. I told him, Vladimir, don't do it. If you do it, bad things happen. No way. I don't want to say what I told him, but I said bad things, and I explained the bad things. He said, no way. I said, way. No way. Way. And he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. And the fact is, they didn't do it. They never were going to do it while I was there. 4 years, long time. They were never going to do it. We would have no hostile relationship with North Korea. We had a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. Remember when I met with Obama, which is mandatory when you take office, the two presidents meet, lovely meeting. I said, what's your biggest problem? He said, North Korea, there's nothing you can do to stop it. I said, have you called him? Have you tried to talk to him? No. I said, maybe you should give it a chance before we end up in nuclear war. But I talked to him. We became very friendly. I was a fan of his. He was a fan of mine. A fan in the sense of we got along, okay? You know, they'll say, oh, he was a fan. They'll make it like headline. We have headlined. Trump was a fan of Kim Jong-un. We got along. He runs a country very tough. He's a very tough guy, smart guy. But he has a massive amount of nuclear weapons. But we got along. You would have had, if Hillary got in, you would have had a nuclear war. You would have had a nuclear war. We would have left Afghanistan with dignity and strength and power and pride. And I would not have been it just wouldn't have been, if you take a look at that horrible embarrassment, we wouldn't have had an embarrassment, the greatest in our history, with dead soldiers, American hostages not taken back. You have many Americans over there right now, they can't get out, and they must be living in hell. And $85 billion of military equipment left behind, $85 billion. You know, they're the second or third largest seller of arms in the world. They're selling the 70,000 trucks that we left them. You know, if you had a used car lot, the biggest in Florida, they have big ones. If they have 400 cars, it's a lot. We gave them 70,000 cars, trucks. Most of them had armor plates on. They cost millions and millions of dollars to build. We gave them 70,000. We gave them 700,000 guns and rifles. And they sell them. They sell them. We gave them goggles, night goggles. You know, they're great fighters, actually. The Afghans, the Afghanistanians, they're great fighters. They're very good fighters. They fight for, 2,000 years they fight. I remember when I first came into the White House, they said, sir, it's going to be a rough spring. Why? Well, they fight in the spring. That's what they do. They come out of the caves and they come out of the crevices in the mountains and they fight. And he said, no kidding. Do they do anything else? Like, do they go out to a ball game or anything? No, sir, they fight. They're fighters. That's what they are. But they never fought at night because they didn't have goggles. And we gave them the best goggles in the world. Better than our people. Right out of the box. Brand new stuff. Brand new. And I said to these guys, take every screw when we're leaving. We're getting ready to leave. I said, I want every bolt. I want every nut. I want every screw. I want those big hangars for the airplanes. I want them. I want every plane. I want every tank. I want every Jeep. I want everything. We're taking it all out with us. And I'll never forget Millie saying, sir, it would be cheaper to leave it. I said, let me ask you a question, Millie. When you say leave it, you mean if we have a $150 million plane and we could fill it up with a tank of jet fuel and fly it to Pakistan or bring it back to our country, you think it's cheaper to leave it? It might be brand new. Yes, sir, we think it. And that was when I realized he was an idiot. But they left it. And I know what happened. Millie and his couple of guys said to Biden, who was, couldn't stay awake, he said to Biden, sir, it would be cheaper to leave all of our equipment. And they left all of their equipment. And $85 billion worth of equipment. The good news is I rebuilt the military, and that was actually a very small number compared to the numbers that we spent on rebuilding. We built new jets. We had fighter jets that were 48 years old. We would have the strongest border right now in history. as we did just 3 years ago. You know, 3 years ago we had the strongest border in history. Millions of prisoners right now and people from jails all over the world are pouring in. They're coming in from the jails and prisons all over the world, and they're dumping them into our country. We have people coming in from mental institutions, from insane asylums. We have terrorists pouring into our country. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. There's never been a third world country that had to endure this, because no third world country would have allowed it. They would have fought them off with sticks and stones. They would have done whatever they had to do. This is the worst border in history. We had the best border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. You go into New York, all over Madison Avenue, there are people sleeping on the sidewalks, sleeping all over Fifth Avenue. You have luxury shop owners closing their businesses. This is true in Chicago. This is true in Los Angeles. This is true in San Francisco. 10 years ago, San Francisco was one of the greatest cities in the world. Today, I don't know, it's very sad to see. And Nancy Pelosi is a big reason for it. She's got, by the way, she's got a wall around her house. It didn't help her husband too much, but it helped her. What the hell was that all about? Has anyone figured that one? What was that all about, Nancy? Tell us. Nancy, give us the word. No, she's a bad woman. Crazy. I call her Crazy Nancy. And she was responsible for security at the Capitol, just so you. We offered her 10,000 soldiers. She was responsible for the security of the Capitol, and she failed. We would have had, right now, and we had the strongest economy in the world, the strongest economy we ever had. And we had it all 3 years ago. Think of it. There would be no inflation. Interest rates would be low. You'd be buying houses right now at great prices. Mortgage rates were setting an all-time. We're at 2.7%. Now you can't get a mortgage. 8, 9, 10, 12%, you can't get a mortgage. We were energy independent. We would right now be energy independent and energy dominant. We'd be selling our energy all over Europe, and we'd be making a fortune, reducing our debt and reducing your taxes. The United States auto workers, if you look at the United Auto Workers and all auto workers throughout the United States, they're under siege with ridiculous electric vehicle mandates, because all those cars are going to be made in China, every one of them, because that's where the materials are. And who wants to buy a car that can't go far and costs a lot of money? Can't go far. It doesn't go very far. In other words, you're in a different world right now, and it's getting worse. It's getting much worse, much, much worse. We would be respected again if we were doing what we did so well, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate the support. You know, we used to call this Club 45, and these brilliant people that run it said, "Sir, do you mind if we call it Club 47? And I said, "You do whatever you want," right? And this is a great celebration, because in addition to all the people, you maxed out 4,000 people, but in addition to all the people, you have thousands of people outside would love to come in. If anybody would like to give up their seat, it would be an honor to let you out. Is anybody, because if anybody was a little bit bored, you know, Trump is terrible. Hey, you know, it's a very funny thing. We get these massive crowds. I was telling Eric, nobody ever said I was a great speaker. We get these massive, you know, the rallies, we get 30, 40, 50, 60. Alabama, we had 68,000. Mo Brooks, he said, well, let's forget about that, and that was the end of him. But we had 68,000 people. Texas, we had 104,000 people. Nobody ever says how great it is, but everybody comes. Nobody ever said, boy, he's a great speaker. That guy's really great. They don't say it. I mean, I got to be. I think it's because I'm so good looking that people sit there and they stare at my beautiful face. They say, that guy is really freaking handsome. I could look at him all day long. But crooked Joe Biden and his boss, Barack Hussein Obama, did this to us. They did this to us. They're destroying our country. But we've saved America from all of what's happening, not to this extent, though. But we saved it before, and we'll save America once again, and we're going to save it. We're going to make it bigger and better and stronger than ever before.